we talked about biology a little bit and starting to talk about behavior. So let's get into that a little bit. I'm wondering about men. This is Brother Be Well. So let's just tell it like it is. Are we prone to ignoring the symptoms of COVID-19 the way we traditionally ignore symptoms that have to do with health? We hear it all the time. I know I'm very guilty of it. I have to be close to death's door to wind up making a doctor's appointment. Are we seeing this with COVID? And if men sought medical care earlier, would we be faring better on the other end of that when we talk about mortality to this thing?
Yeah, I would say so. I think I just think of, for me personally, when I was sick, I got to be almost on my deathbed to be like, okay, I'll go in. The only reason why I was a little bit more apt to be a little bit more proactive on this is because, I was like, I have my kids here, and this could affect them a lot more. And so I had to be a little bit more hyper vigilant. Like, I got to put my ego to the side and be like, okay, let me check out. Let me get screened out a little sooner. Let me not wait. Let me not just say like, this is nothing.
Yeah.
I had to check myself, but I just know, for me, like playing sports, if I don't see any blood, if I don't see a broken bone coming out my skin, it's fine.
I know, right?
Walk it off. You got to walk it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that goes for everything, Mike. Like you talked on it. COVID-19 is just it's a symptom of the bigger problem in healthcare that men have. And there's I think, like my experience, I've felt the shame, a little bit, the anxiety that we get for going in. And I think we don't like to lose control. And anyone that goes into a doctor's office as a patient, you lose that sense of control, right? Because someone in a white coat's going to use these big words and tell us things that we don't necessarily want to hear, that we don't want to agree with. And all that does play a toll. So instead of going through that turmoil and that mental juggle, we just kind of shun it and don't want to do it at all.
Yeah. Do you think, Carter, are you telling me that you go through that same thing as I go through? Because the way you described that white coat, seriously? I would have thought y'all are nurses. I have almost an anxiety attack when I have a new doctor. Once I find a doctor I like, I stick with that doctor forever. And just a few years ago, my doctor moved on and I had to walk back into this new man walked in. I was like, oh no, this is not gonna work. My blood pressure was through the roof. And I had to tell him, give me a few minutes to calm down, dude. This is a whole new relationship we're starting right now. Yeah. But I assume that you guys wouldn't be dealing with that because you're in the nursing profession. That makes me feel better that you go through it too.
Mm-hmm. I would be I fortunately, I haven't been admitted to a hospital. I haven't had anything too serious, but I know I would be the worst patient because I would jump off the walls. It's like, I know too much. I know I've seen behind the curtain.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that. Wow. Maybe I shouldn't. I'm looking forward to, after this is done, after this virus is behind us, Carter, I've been looking forward to having a beer with you guys. Maybe I don't want to know what's behind that curtain. Maybe I'm better off not knowing what is behind that curtain. So let's talk about, we're talking about taking this virus seriously. I'm wondering about, are we taking it as seriously as we should be? And I'm wondering also about interventions. We know that in mental health, interventions influence positive behaviors. How can we do the same thing? Gentlemen, how can we encourage self-awareness about coronavirus and create pathways that will potentially save lives down the road?
Yeah, that's a good question, Michael. And I like that, looking towards solutions. Because shoot, we're coming up on a year, right? The anniversary, we're close. So I think this time last year, we started in that fear stage, rightfully so. All of us didn't know what was going on, and there was a lot of information coming at us. And then we kind of get to that disbelief phase. But now I feel like the path forward is by sharing knowledge and sharing spaces with people. That's the only way that we're going to be able to get through this. And not physically sharing spaces with people, but conversations like these to destigmatize what it looks like to have COVID, destigmatize what it looks like to be wearing a mask, to be being vigilant, to be being respectful of your community, of yourself. And I think it's becoming more normalized, right? The person who hand sanitizes before at the cashier, they might get a certain type of look, but now that's not a problem. And I remember the first time I went to the grocery store wearing a mask, I felt punchy myself, that I was out of place. And then a week later, I felt like the people not wearing a mask were the ones out of place. So I think it's that natural progression. But with social media campaigns, campaigns like this with Brother Be Well are great platforms to kind of push that narrative.
Well, yeah, well, let's hope so. We're working hard to try to be that, Carter. I appreciate you saying that.